my name is Maxim, and welcome to the 0 subscriber special of my new channel, Running Instinct. The goal of this channel is to put a training plan into practice, and the name Running Instinct is supposed to imply a simple yet effective method for getting better. The video content is based on my opinion and knowledge, and while different things may work for different people, this channel will try and keep in mind the instinctual method to get better at not just running, but at everything that includes running also. So a spirit animal for this channel, as you may have guessed, is an antelope. And an antelope is an extremely fast animal. It can run like 30 miles at 30 miles an hour. It is born to run. And humans can try and emulate this, and that's what I'm going to try to keep in mind with this channel. So it's an experiment of sorts. I've searched through YouTube and I have not been able to find much variety when it comes to running training. To me, it almost seems like guesswork. So you run 2 or 3 days a week. 2-3 hard days a week. You do a long run in there, and somehow you're supposed to drop a bunch of time. And you could drop 30 seconds, or you can gain 10 seconds, and who knows. So the question is, how can I train so that there are no surprises, and I can be confident that what I'm doing will work? So that's what I'll be getting into today. Before I get into the meat of this channel, I want to give a blurb about myself. I'm a senior in high school, and my favorite subjects around STEM courses, and my favorite is probably math. I've swam competitively for 7 years now, and I was very successful before I found out that I wasn't having as much fun with it. And during the pandemic, when all the pools were closed, I found out I was pretty good with running. And over the last year or so, I have achieved a 15-12 5K and a 426 1600 among other times. So, now that that part is over, let's get into what this channel is all about. The training plan I'll be using is called USRPT, an abbreviation for Ultra Short Race Pace Training. This is a very logical but unconventional method. It's logical because it makes sense, and unconventional because it can be very difficult to carry out, especially when training large groups of people, and it can get pretty chaotic with that. And as you become more familiar with this, you will know what I mean. By the way, on my YouTube homepage, I included a couple links that you should check out, including one with a good explanation of USRPT from the USRPT homepage itself. Now, USRPT, Ultra Short Race Pace Training, is just what the name says it is. It is training for your event at your goal/race pace in intervals and distances that are manageable. It is a training plan dedicated more towards swimmers, and when I say that, I mean the guy who wrote this thing in the 1980s or whatever. He wrote it specifically for swimmers, but I think we can repurpose it for running, because after some searching of Jakob Ingebrigtsen and Mo Farah's training plans, I found out that basically what they were doing is, as I understand, USRPT. So the logic behind USRPT is that you train at your race pace as much as possible so you can get used to it. And you have to simulate the race. So if you do certain stretches, or just basically if you have a certain pre-race routine that you like to use before a race, then you should use it before your USRPT training day or set. You're training for your race, so you should be doing your race pace. So that's the logic behind it, but it can be pretty difficult to carry out. So here's my training plan. As you can see, the first week is light, and I'm getting back into it after the holidays. And my race of choice to train for is going to be the 1600, because track season is coming up and I want to get ready for that. So I'll run a timed mile this week to set up a base USRPT pace. The second week, I'll be increasing my mileage and start doing workouts. All the workouts will look the same. Ideally, USRPT calls for 6 times the race distance. Those are going to be segmented into quarters of the race or less. And they'll also have less than 25 seconds of rest in between the reps. So for me, the 1600 divided by 4 is a 400. So my reps will be just one lap around the track. Then multiply that by the 6 times the race distance. So 1600 times 6 is 9600, or 24 laps. And that sounds like a lot, but that is ideally according to a training philosophy that is dedicated to swimming. So if I stop here, it might sound like I'm making a video about the fastest way to get injured. And I did get injured trying to do a version of this at one point. But to prevent injury, I will be doing workouts a maximum of 3 times a week and doing supplemental exercises to keep my smaller muscles strong. So I gotta wear the right shoes, take my easy days easy, and just being very cautious with my training. But at the same time, not too cautious. There's got to be like a balance. So that being said, training and running, or in sports in general, has to be somewhat flexible, and there is a difference between being sore and tired or unrested and just lazy. And everyone has to decide that for themselves. So in week 2, I'll be doing 3 workouts. 2 of them you'll notice say USRPT, and the third says Super USRPT. If I go over to week 3 here and then 4, I am increasing my mileage, ideally increasing my rep count, and doing more of the Super USRPT than normal USRPT. Now the difference is that Super USRPT is your goal race pace, and normal USRPT is your fitness pace. So I'll run the timed mile in the first week to establish my fitness pace, and from there I'll make a goal pace, and so on. I'll go from there. Now back to what I said about the training being flexible. If I am unable to keep the race pace for 12 reps in week 1, then it doesn't make sense to increase the rep count to 16 or 20 or whatever. Instead, you gotta play it by ear and say, I gotta do 12 again this week because I didn't really make it. And one thing that I should mention is that you're allowed 3 fails when doing the workout. So part of USRPT and a great way to train in general is training to failure. It sounds weird. Why would I want to fail? I mean, if you're failing, it means you are putting your body to new limits. You're pushing your body to new limits. Logical, right? What did I tell you? And if you're reaching those new limits in training, then you can confidently know that you'll be reaching those new limits in racing and competition. So check out my link to AthleanX on my YouTube homepage for more on this. So to wrap it up, week 5 will be my last hard week, and it will follow the same pattern as the other weeks, and then I take a breather before a race in week 6. So to give you a quick example of how all this will go down, say in week 1 I run a 5 to below, then in week 2 my USRPT pace will be 1:15 or 75 seconds. Now, a reasonable goal for me, based on the fact that I stuffed my face over the holidays and didn't run that much, would be to run a 4:30, which would be my Super USRPT pace, which is a 1:07 or 67. So, based on this, my set would be basically, as an example, 12 400s on the 1:15 plus 25 seconds rest, so 12 400s on the 1:40, if that's my normal USRPT pace, and about 6 400s on the 1:33 or 1:35, you can round, if it's my Super USRPT pace. So I follow that training plan. I make sure I take really good care of my body, especially on my easy days, and making sure I'm eating the right foods and overall just being healthy. And then when 6 weeks rolls around, I'll take a small break and then race 4 laps. Boom, that's it. If you want to follow me throughout my 6-week journey to hopefully a huge success, then subscribe to my channel so you don't miss a video. And thank you for watching. I'll see you later.